Prince William is now running the British monarchy. King Charles is acknowledging that he is dying, and Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie have been thrust out and will likely never be seen again, at least in terms of official duties. That is the conclusion. My conclusion, but regular viewers will know this is what I have been reporting for some time, as a result of the decision announced yesterday for the York daughters not to attend the Easter service. The mainstream media reporting the presence of Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor's daughters in Windsor on Sunday would overshadow proceedings. It has been decided. But there is much more to this, and there is much more to this that the mainstream media are not reporting, but I will. They say that the decision is with the understanding and agreement with the King, and that Beatrice and Eugenie have made alternative plans for this Easter. Sources have stressed they were very much part of the family Christmas at Sandringham and will be seen at future family celebrations. But that appears increasingly unlikely. And of course, the decision for the Yorks not to be in attendance means that Prince William, Catherine, and their 3 children are expected at the service to give the British public a glimpse of the future of the monarchy. Now, that runs in great contrast, of course, to the scenes last year, and it is hard to believe that these scenes were only last year, where Andrew and Fergie and the 2 daughters took centre stage, and as a result of his ongoing disagreements with King Charles about whether the Yorks should be so prominent at royal events, William and Catherine refused to attend. Now, of course, I do understand there are many monarchists and royalists who don't like the talk of succession, who probably approve of the mainstream media cloak of secrecy around what's going on with King Charles and his health. And I accept that. But I've always pledged to tell the truth, to report the truth to you, and that is what I will continue to do. And there is very much now a changing of the guards at the top of the British royal family after a number of missteps, which his courtiers do blame in some senses as a result of the ongoing and physically draining cancer treatment that King Charles III is having to undergo, that there were huge mistakes in terms of the dealings with Andrew and the Yorks, and they now have to be corrected. Give huge credit to Tom Sykes of The Royalist, a regular guest here on Outspoken, who has also been prepared to report the truth, even being booted out of the royal rota as a result. And his analysis on this will stun a lot of people, but is important to share with you. The looming death of King Charles is why British newspapers can't tell the truth about why Beatrice and Eugenie's banishment is permanent. And he writes, whatever the official line, the absence is a clear sign of 3 things. 1, that the sisters are out. And 2, that Prince William is in charge now. And 3, nobody in the British media can risk saying that yet. William gets that the real problem is that the York name is reputationally radioactive. However sorry one may feel for them and their allotment of parents, the princesses are no longer convincingly able to argue complete ignorance after emails showing Andrew discussing a £300,000 arrangement with Jonathan Rowland, son of the financier David Rowland, in June 2011. According to the emails, Andrew wrote that there should be 50k each to the girls. It placed the princesses directly inside a financial discussion that has already triggered calls for further investigation. That is the backdrop against which William is now trying to erase the sisters' visibility. What is really going on here, of course, is the thing the UK newspapers and the outlets around the world that recycle their copy can't tell you. Power is bleeding from King Charles to Prince William because Charles is dying. This always happens when a monarch is terminally ill. The heir's instincts start to shape outcomes long before the formal transfer of authority arrives. The change of direction is a humiliation for the king, who went to great efforts to show that the daughters would not pay for their father's disgrace. That remains the official position in theory, yet the public evidence increasingly suggests a different reality. The York princesses will no longer get to stand in the frame when the monarchy presents itself to the country. For that reason, the palace's insistence that this is temporary is clearly just face-saving. Once royals stop appearing at the set-piece occasions that define membership of the public family, return becomes harder, not easier. Beatrice and Eugenie will never again, I predict, be photographed in the same scene as William. And the thing is, even though there is a ruthless streak to William's small m modernisation of the British royal family, which is coming and is already here, so much of this is necessary. Because again, I just want to remind you of last year. Think of what was coming. Think of what we knew already about the Epstein files. Why on earth would Andrew have been put front and centre of such an important day in the Christian calendar? And we now learn that Andrew was very unhappy during his appearance outside the church, and he has been described as arrogant and like a heat-seeking missile in his conversations with Princess Anne's husband, Sir Timothy Lawrence, just a year ago. These are the instances that Prince William is trying to avoid. Of course, this is incredibly difficult for the two daughters. Princess Eugenie, dining alone with her husband, was looking very upset of late. And we know that Princess Beatrice, whose marriage to Edo Motsi is in trouble, is now considering a move to the USA. But in light of all of this, Andrew Lowney, the author of Entitled, the book which really started the snowball effect which got us here today, has made bombshell claims that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is still being protected by the deep state, but he believes that Beatrice and Eugenie are being set up to become the fall guys for the British royal family. That does include Sarah Ferguson going missing, leaving her two daughters to have to try and navigate life probably outside the heart of the British royal family for the first time in their lives. The Times newspaper this morning suggesting that both women have now been rejected by the royals. Hilary Rose writing, 2 years ago, Princess Eugenie sat down to interview her mother, Mumsy. She explained in a video for anti-slavery charity, had always been an inspiration. Here is that moment, by the way, and how times so quickly changed. As Hilary Rose went on, while Mumsy aimed for a look that said gratified but humble, Eugenie praised her as a woman and a leader for her wisdom, her inspirational energy, and her mission to change people's lives around the world. Today, with the utter disgrace of her parents, Eugenie has stepped down from her own charity. Mumsy is the one whose life has changed, and both of them have gone to ground. Fergie, the woman who begged a paedophile's forgiveness for calling him a paedophile, finds her wisdom and leadership somewhat less in demand. Eugenie and Beatrice's father has been booted from Royal Lodge to Marsh Farm, and the toxic fallout of the Epstein files goes on and on. They're not attending the royal family's Easter weekend service in Windsor this Sunday. To cap it all, the sisters are NFI, not friggin' invited, to Royal Ascot, which for the status-obsessed blood princesses could be the thing that irks them most. How, they may wonder, has it come to this? The short answer is, with parents like theirs, how could it not? The long answer is Jeffrey Epstein. The York sisters' names are mentioned hundreds of times in the Epstein files, although that is no indication of wrongdoing. They were 19 and 21 when they joined their mother for lunch with Epstein in Florida 5 days after he was released from prison for prostituting minors. Needless to say, he paid for their flights. There's a big campaign to say they're innocents caught up in the shellfire, but they're not. Andrew Lowney said they're deeply involved. They weren't 5-year-old girls when they were taken to see Epstein. They were grown-ups. Both, he argues, profited from their royal status and their father's connections in the Middle East, making innumerable contacts in the region when they accompanied their father on his trips as trade envoy. Both invited some dubious contacts of their father to their weddings and birthdays. Both are said to have rejected Prince William's suggestion of an ethics check on their personal investments. A dramatic changing shape to the British royal family. What we're going to see on Sunday is the start of it. And Angela Levin, Prince Harry's biographer, Queen Camilla's biographer, and our royal mastermind, the fact that it looks like we are going to see William, Catherine, George, Charlotte, and Louis at the Easter service on Sunday, on the year when the Yorks are finally banished, is very significant. Has King Charles made the right decision to effectively back away from his stated aims and say William was right?
Well, it's a mouthful, isn't it, really? I think there's certain things that the atmosphere is so burning and so difficult that you actually just have to let things cool down. And in the cooling down, it might lead to forever, as Meghan might say, or it just is until things come cooler and people calm down. I mean, it's been a shock for everyone and very difficult to handle. And I think that that's not a bad idea. In fact, I think it's a very, very, very good idea. And I think if Prince William and his family are there in the main position, I think that's wonderful too. I think we have to move with the life of what's going on, but actually also understand that, what on earth can I do now? So you just calm down.
Yeah, indeed. But as Tom Sykes, I think, is correct to say, Angela, once you are thrust out of official royal life, it is difficult to return.
Yeah, I'm sure that's right. It's another life they're going to have. This is the end of one era, and then the next one comes along, and we all get that. We all get things that are very upsetting. We get, we don't work in the same place so we'd always wanted to work. There are lots of things, and we just have to plan and learn them. And it's also depending on how you grow up. If you're a parent and you've got lots of children, you can't maybe work as much as you like. The life's all a jumble. And I think that everybody has to accept what is happening to them now. The two girls have had an extraordinary life, and now things have to change. And we don't know quite which way it's going to go, but it certainly should change. And I think what's very, very important to me is that girls of 20 and 18 or 19 and 17, they have a knowledge of whether they should go to meet somebody who's just coming out of prison because what is done to girls or not. I mean, you say to your mother, no chance I'm
Absolutely.
going there. No chance. You're not a little girl who mummy says, well, we're going now, come along.
Totally agree.
And they go along holding their hand. They had the chance to say, absolutely not coming, and you stay at home. And they had that. So that makes a big difference to me.
Me too. Angela, meanwhile, there is another looming problem for the British royal family, and it is the desperation of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And we've seen a lot of it, Angela, with this trip to Australia. And this is just extraordinary. They are taking the $3,000 from one of the most prominent members of the vile Sussex Squad, the biggest gang of internet trolls in history. This is a character called Zandy Sussex, who has just been utterly repulsive, Angela, in the past. I mean, let me just show you some of Zandy Sussex's posts on X. I mean, there's hundreds, but these are just a couple. Kate's cancer has always been one big scam. We knew this then, and we know it now. They're really going all out and bringing back fake cancer but we're told she'll miraculously and very conveniently be well enough to attend Wimbledon. Here's last year's desperate video of Kate nearly pinning. She's posted this of Prince William at school and said the signs of violent tendencies were always there. But then this week, here's the announcement. Drum roll, please. I'm so excited to share that I got a ticket to the Girls' Weekend with Meghan. Yes, I'll be inside and we'll make sure to bring you updates. And I went VIP, so our table gets a photo with Meghan. Let's go. So Meghan taking money from the Sussex squad. Remember, she had said, or the team had said, that they were going to screen all of these guests. But as the Daily Mail reports, an anti-royal influencer and senior lieutenant of the so-called Sussex squad claims she is among the select few approved to attend.
What if the biggest story inside the royal family right now isn't about Prince Harry or Meghan Markle? What if it is actually about the future of the monarchy itself? A dramatic new claim is raising questions about whether Prince William is beginning to exercise greater influence over the royal family, while Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are facing a significant reduction in their public visibility. The headline is even more explosive. Thrust out. Some commentators are suggesting that Beatrice and Eugenie are being pushed further away from the center of royal life, while William and Catherine's generation takes an increasingly prominent position. But there is an important distinction we need to make from the beginning. There is no evidence presented here that Prince William has officially banished Beatrice or Eugenie. There is also no basis for stating as fact that King Charles is dying or that William has formally taken control of the monarchy. Those are dramatic interpretations. What we can examine, however, is why Beatrice and Eugenie's absence from an important royal occasion has triggered such intense speculation, what their father Prince Andrew has to do with the situation, and whether the monarchy is gradually moving toward a much smaller and more tightly controlled public image. So let's break it all down. The controversy begins with the reported absence of Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie from an important Easter royal gathering. Their absence immediately attracted attention because both sisters have previously appeared at major royal family occasions. They are not working members of the royal family in the same way as William, Catherine, and Edward or Sophie. But they remain members of the wider royal family and have periodically appeared alongside senior royals. So when they aren't present, people naturally start asking questions. Was it simply a scheduling decision? Was it connected to their father? Or could it represent something bigger? According to the source material, the explanation was that having Beatrice and Eugenie present alongside their father, Prince Andrew, could potentially overshadow the occasion. That is an important detail, because it suggests that their absence may not necessarily have been a punishment directed at the sisters themselves. Instead, it could have been a decision about managing the wider image of the royal family. And that distinction matters. Beatrice and Eugenie did not create every controversy associated with their father, but they remain publicly associated with the York branch of the family. That creates an awkward problem for the modern monarchy. How do you protect individual family members while also preventing one controversial association from dominating the public conversation? This brings us to Prince William. William is not king yet. King Charles remains the monarch. So claims that William has already taken control should be treated cautiously. But William is the heir to the throne. And with that position comes increasing responsibility. As the monarchy looks toward the future, William and Catherine are naturally becoming more important to the institution's public image. Their children represent another generation beyond them. That creates a gradual shift in emphasis. The monarchy of tomorrow is increasingly being represented by William, Catherine, George, Charlotte, and Louis. And that inevitably means some members of the wider family may become less prominent. That doesn't necessarily mean they have been banished. It could simply mean the institution is becoming more selective about who represents it publicly. To understand why Beatrice and Eugenie are in such a complicated position, we have to talk about their father. Prince Andrew has been one of the biggest reputational problems facing the modern royal family. His controversies have dominated headlines for years. And even though Beatrice and Eugenie are adults with their own lives and careers, their connection to Andrew inevitably follows them whenever the York family appears publicly. This creates a difficult situation. The sisters may want to maintain their own identities. The palace may want to treat them as individuals. But the media often connects them directly to their father's controversies. That means every appearance involving Beatrice or Eugenie can potentially become another story about Andrew. When William becomes king, what will the royal family actually look like? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you subscribe to CrownScope Media for royal family news, celebrity commentary, breaking stories, and detailed analysis. Turn on notifications so you don't miss our next royal update. And remember, we'll continue separating the confirmed developments from the speculation so you can make up your own mind.